Now, the Bhopal disaster has been referred to as the Hiroshima of the chemical industry. It is a catastrophe unparalleled in industrial history. Imagine a scene of chaos and confusion as people are running from their homes, coughing and gasping for breath, their eyes burning. Some falling as they ran, vomiting and dying on the street. Imagine bodies piled on top of one another in trucks, taken to be cremated or buried in rows of mass graves. This is what the people of Bhopal were subject to on December 3rd, 1984, when 40 tons of toxic chemical gases were released from a pesticide factory in Bhopal, India. Residents of Bhopal woke up to fits of coughing as their lungs filled with fluid. Initial effects of the gas, which spread to up to 40 square kilometers, were vomiting and burning sensations of the eyes, throat, and nose. The number of people who died in the Bhopal disaster is still unknown. However, a UNICEF report indicates that the number of deaths may be as high as 10,000. UNICEF indicates that of the 200,000 estimated to be affected by the disaster, 75% were slum dwellers and 40% were children under the age of 1. Most deaths were caused by respiratory failure due to either massive internal secretion that clogged their lungs or suffocation. The industrial accident that occurred at Bhopal is an ongoing disaster. Today, at least 120,000 people are still chronically sick from the effects of the chemical release that day. Furthermore, the plant has been left abandoned and full of toxic chemicals, which are contaminating the groundwater, causing illnesses in approximately 40,000 others. A new generation living in Bhopal is being affected by the disaster, from ailments such as fevers, nausea, and exhaustion, to more serious conditions like cancers and birth defects. No evacuation plan was prepared, and a siren used to alert the public around the factory of a chemical release only sounded for a few minutes. Most residents around the factory didn't even wake up to the siren, but instead to irritation caused by the gas. Now, Union Carbide, who owned the factory from which the toxic chemicals were released, and the company's owner, Dow Chemical, refused to clean up the factory and continue to deny responsibility for the poisoning. Greenpeace and survivors of the accident are calling on Dow Chemical to clean up the factory site, to secure long-term medical treatment and rehabilitation for the survivors of the accident, to ensure compensation for the affected people and their families, and to provide clean drinking water to communities in areas affected by contaminated groundwater. Now that you have an understanding of what happened during this disaster in Bhopal, Torrin will explain how the chemical plant operated, Darren will describe what actions and events led to this horrific disaster, and Shalini will explain the technical improvements and lessons that were learned by the chemical industry as a result of the Bhopal disaster.